In Arizona, there is a very important Senate race going on in terms of the Democrats' chance to keep their majority, and that is between Ruben Gallego and Kari Lake. And they recently just had a debate where Ruben not only destroys Kari, but the MAGA ideology she represents. So I wanted to play a few of these clips to, one, shed light on a very important down ballot race, and two, to expose the ignorance and the dangers of MAGA.
She's in denial about climate change, but we should not be surprised by that. She's still in denial about the 2022 election. And now I give you 1 minute. You have 1 minute. Will you finally tell the people of Arizona, did you win or lose that election?
Can I talk about water?
This is just the Trump playbook. I mean, look how quickly she had to swerve away from answering that question because she too cannot admit that she lost. And this is a direct result of Donald Trump. It's the politicians that he breeds for office in the Republican Party, the most corrupt, vile, self-centered individuals who can't take accountability. And this has been degrading the integrity of Congress since he started it all in 2016 and accelerated the madness in 2020. Kari also lost multiple court cases trying to overturn the Arizona governor election that she lost and never publicly conceded, and is still lying to the American people by virtue of being unwilling to admit the truth.
I want to make sure that UVF is protected. I have many friends who are here. They're my friends today because of UVF. And I have many of my friends who have had children and experienced the joy of motherhood and parenthood because of UVF.
Yeah, this is what you call a lie. She doesn't even know what it's called. It's IVF, not UVF. It's not UV rays. It's like another kind of sunshine, right? And she said it wrong 3 times, so it's not like it was just a little slip up. She literally doesn't know what it's called. Kari supported the Civil War era abortion ban in Arizona that stood to allow the prohibition of things like IVF or contraceptives. So she isn't for these things. She's lying right now in her campaign to try and seem less extreme than she is, because this is a major issue for Republicans, yet she can't even get the name right. It's pathetic. It's sad. I mean, but these are the people that Republicans elect to run for them.
This is a person who only 2 years ago, actually less than 2 years ago, said the 1864 territorial law, a law that said if you were an abortion provider, it was a mandatory 2-year sentence, and it had no exceptions for rape or incest, was a great law. She said it was a great law. She said she was thrilled when Roe was overturned. And then when she was disappointed to find out that the 1864 law, again, the one that had no exceptions for rape or incest, was not going to get enforced, she said, well, I hope the sheriffs will do their jobs. Can you imagine?
It's not true.
We have it on tape.
That law is on the books and we have that law. No, we don't have that law. She's not enforcing the law. So we don't have that law. The only people who can enforce that law are our sheriffs. And we need to start asking the sheriffs if they're willing to enforce that.
Yes, she absolutely did say that. To clarify, Kari Lake thinks an abortion law from 1864 is a good law, one that has a total ban with no exceptions, not for rape, not for incest, not for cases in which the life's mother is in jeopardy. If she dies, pretty much. That is what Kari believes should be the law of the land. And as we saw in the clip, she also wants sheriffs to walk around and enforce women to obey and die from otherwise preventable procedures or complications, I should say, from inability to get the procedures to help them. This is the world that MAGA wants to create. These are the people that MAGA elects to run and represent them. And it's exactly the reason why we need to rid our political sphere of people like this existing within it.
He doesn't really care about women's rights. If he cared about women's rights, first of all, I'm astounded that he actually knows the difference between a woman and a man, because I thought there were, 147 different genders. I do care about women's rights. I come from a family of women, and I have a daughter of my own and many nieces and nephews.
Okay, so a couple things just to nerd out on real quick, if you'll bear with me. Gender is neurosocial in terms of gender identity and the way you feel, and the way we express gender is sociological. The label that we put on these genders and the different kinds of expression are social constructs. Very technically speaking, there would be one gender for every person, but for application purposes, we utilize just a few. For utility, it's just a spectrum. I actually have a really good conversation with some psychoanalysts who dive into this concept really well and explain it as it's important to know that gender does indeed work as a spectrum. It's not binary, and it's also not definite. And the way you feel comfortable expressing the identity you feel is what's not constant, right? It's based off your development, your environment, your different social societal pressures you may feel, but the identity you feel is something that never changes. It's developed when you were born. So Kari's trying to play like a gotcha here, but instead just comes off sounding really dumb, especially when she goes on to talk about women and women's rights and mentions that she has a nephew. Like, what are we even doing at this point?